Welcome back to the Green Beans Go channel. It's your host, me. This candle is almost burnt out, which means it's going to be time for a fall scent. I'm excited about that because honestly, that's more exciting than the game Thursday between the Giants and the Niners. It's shaping up to be a bloodbath of monstrous proportions, but we got to talk about it, so let's do it. As I was saying, this game is taking place at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California. The Giants played Arizona last week. They're actually staying out west for this short week. They've got injuries. Guys, it's not looking good for the G-men come this Thursday. Before we get into all that, let's talk about promos. Some books still have not posted any, but FanDuel and DraftKings have some up. FanDuel has a no-sweat same-game parlay as well as a 50% profit boost. DraftKings has a no-sweat bet on this game, a game on Sunday, and a game on Monday, so make sure you're taking advantage of all three of those. So we have an 8:20 kickoff on Thursday. Don't forget to use Prime Vision. I don't know how I feel about that. It's a new thing that Amazon Prime is offering for viewers. It looks like a Madden game. There's lines on guys running around. I don't know. Last Thursday's game, we know, between the Vikings and the Eagles was a little tough to watch at the beginning. Lots of turnovers, lots of 3-and-outs. So maybe this game will be better, although I am not convinced right now that it will be. So on the 21st, that is tomorrow, 77 degrees, perfect conditions, no wind, and this will be played at the 49ers Stadium, which actually boasts the largest video board in the NFL. Bust that out with your family, with your wife, with your friends, with your kids when you're watching this game. When that thing pops up, you see it in the background. Say, hey, did you know that's the largest video board in the NFL? And they're going to say, whoa, what about Dallas? And you're going to say, no. Green Beans Go taught me that is the largest board in the NFL. It's news to me, and now it's news to you. Taking a look at this season, the Giants obviously got a much-needed win last week against the Cardinals. I put this little graphic here. This was in the third quarter. ESPN gave the Cardinals a 96% chance to win the game. It was 28-7, but Daniel Jones led a monstrous comeback, and they ended up winning the game 31-28. We all saw the bloodbath that was Sunday Night Football Week 1 against the Cowboys, where they could not score a point and they gave up 40. So it has not been a good year for the Giants, and I don't think that changes this Thursday against the Niners, who have scored 30 points in both of their games, 30-7 against the Steelers and 30-23 against the Rams last week. They've been on the road twice. They finally get to come home. Last week's game, it looks like a touchdown, looks like a one-score game, which technically it was, but Sean McVay kicks a field goal at the final seconds of the game for absolutely no reason except to cover the spread and ruin me, which we don't need to talk about. But it was a dominant game by the Niners, and I don't expect that to change this week. Looking at both of these offenses, as you can see, the Niners are a much more consistent team through these first 2 weeks, and a much more powerful team through these first 2 weeks. The Giants have one passing touchdown per game, one rushing touchdown per game. Again, these are per game stats, and you have to keep in mind that in week 1, the Giants had pretty much nothing. So it's a little bit skewed. I know they scored 31 points last week, but because of their 0 points the week before, it's all a little messed up. But what you need to know is the Giants' offense doesn't have much in way of explosive firepower, especially if Saquon Barkley does not play this Thursday, which we will talk about in a second. Outside of that, Waller is getting the most attention, followed by Slayton, Isaiah Hodgins, and Paris Campbell, which those names don't necessarily perk up many ears. As for the Niners, obviously Christian McCaffrey is the biggest weapon they have. Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk are not far behind. George Kittle has been quiet this year in games where they've scored 30 points each time. So that is interesting to me. I think that's just an outlier. I think Kittle gets it going, and I actually think Kittle gets it going in this game. But we'll look at the defense. Again, the Giants have given up 68 points this year, which is horrible. And 28 of those were to the Cardinals, which is horrible. Joshua Dobbs put up 28 of them things on y'all. Not great. And you're now facing a top 7? Are we okay to call the Niners a top 7 offense in the league? I am. A top 7 offense in the league. It's not going to be good, guys. It's not going to be good. So, their defensive stats, look at their rushing yards allowed, 136 a game. 136 a game. And averaging 2.5 rushing touchdowns given up, guys. So and people are wondering, right? People are mad because I've already seen it. Christian McCaffrey's odds to score. Christian McCaffrey's first touchdown score odds are criminal. Christian McCaffrey to score 2 touchdowns, it's criminal. Look at what's happening though. The Giants are one of the worst rush defenses in the league. They have a short week where they're probably missing one of their key linebackers. Christian McCaffrey, one of the best running backs, like it sucks. If you don't like the odds, don't take it. But to sit here and call it robbery, I am not sure, because what the predictions are, what the metrics say is Christian McCaffrey has a pretty good chance to score once, if not twice, this game. So I'm not mad at his line. I'm just ignoring it because I don't think it has value, but I think it's close to fair. As far as notes go, before we get into the numbers, obviously the biggest piece for the Giants is Barkley's injury. I don't think he plays, and if he does, I think it's dumb. Does Barkley win them the game? Think about it like this. Do the Giants with Barkley have a chance to win this game? I don't think so. So why throw him out there and risk an injury to him further when you have 14 games left in the season after this one? I don't think it's wise for him to play, even if he's trending to play. Also want to note the Giants' brutal schedule to begin with this year. So they have a Sunday night game, prime time. They lose by 40. So it's already a tough time to get back into the groove after an evening primetime game. So they get back into the groove, and then in 2 days, 3 days, they have to fly all the way across the United States to Arizona to play in a game where they struggle. They end up winning, which, odds are, totally stacked against them. 3% chance to win that game. They end up winning the game, so that's great. Then they have to stay out west. They don't get to go home. They don't get to be comfortable with their humble abodes, if you will. They stay out west, and now they go and face probably the best team in the NFC. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Last stat I want to point to you is that this is horrible. The Giants have 10 sack surrenders, meaning Daniel Jones in 2 games has been sacked 10 times. And how many times have the Giants forced a sack? None. They have not sacked an opposing quarterback. So their QB has been sacked 10 times. They have not sacked the other QB. That is a horrible recipe for long-term success in the National Football League. As far as the Niners go, Brandon Ayuk does have a shoulder injury. It doesn't seem to be too serious. He did not practice, though, but you wouldn't expect him to on such a short week. I think he'll play. I don't think he needs to in this game. Other than that, I have nothing to say. I just don't really see this going well for the Giants, and I think the Niners put up 30 again if they want to and cruise to a 3-0 start. Looking at the numbers here, because we always do, Giants are plus 435 on the money line. The 49ers are minus 550. I'm not touching either of those for any reason whatsoever. As far as the spread goes, we got 10. There is a book, I believe it's Hard Rock, offering 10.5 right now. So if you do like the Giants to cover plus 10.5, take them at Hard Rock. Get yourself that little half point there. As far as total goes, 44.5 is the total. My gut says over, but that's just because I think the Niners are able to put up 30 to 35 on their own, and so then you only need 10 to 20 from the Giants, which, a late score, second half score where they have the game handled. That is, the Niners have the game handled. The Giants put one in late. It is what it is. I'm not touching the over in this one, but that would be my lean. Before we get into bets I like for this game, let's give a quick update for the channel history. We are 9-17, which isn't the best record, but we have had some big wins. So up almost 6 units with a 25% ROI. Again, guys, I do this for fun. I do this because I like the research. The money I make sports betting is from promos and finding value early. I can't always give you that on this channel. So I'm trying to find a balance of finding value that I think holds up based on how I predict the game to go, and also encouraging you guys to use your promos. So again, if we can hit 5% ROI by week 18, I will be thrilled. I realize 25% is unreasonable to expect to hold up throughout the year. And anybody who tells you they have a 25% ROI on the season probably hit a long shot parlay, and that's boosting their statistics. I prefer to take consistent, steady wins and build a bankroll. I'm in the minority. I understand that. That's not what everybody brags about on the internet. I get that, but that is what this channel is all about. Thursday night, a week ago, we did have a sweep, which helped us immensely. Sunday night, Stevenson, we had his over rushing yards, over 50.5. He got 50, so that turned a positive night potentially to a slightly negative one. And then Monday night, our doubleheader, we end up positive. Elijah Moore at one point had 6 targets and 1 catch. He ends the night with 37 receiving yards. So I think I handicapped that correctly in terms of the targets I expected him to pull in. He just didn't go over the number. Such is sports betting. We move on. As far as bets I like in this one, I don't see a ton of value in a lot of lines just because Vegas is predicting this to be a giant letdown for the Giants. It's going to be a Niners domination. And because of that, they've juiced the overs on a lot of player props for the Giants. And so for the Niners. So I'm staying off a little bit, but these are the plays I like. All of these in the left column are 1-unit plays, singles, straights, and the one in the right is how I'm using my 50% profit boost from FanDuel. So put it very simply, I think the Giants trail in this game. I don't think Zaquan plays. I don't think he should play. He might play. So I don't think it's realistic to expect them to rush with Breida and Gary Brightwell all that often, especially if they're trailing. So Daniel Jones is going to be back there passing a ton, and I'm going to target 2 of his receivers who have plenty of targets in their first 2 weeks. That's Isaiah Hodgins and Darius Slayton. I'm going to take both of their overs. And again, I think Vegas is still adjusting for who does Daniel Jones like. I mean, Hodgins, Slayton, and Campbell all have similar yardage numbers this week, and they all have similar targets in the past 2 weeks. So I think we can get some value here with some low yardage numbers for a guy who does like Waller, but has options at the wide receiver position that he has not totally confirmed as his favorite. So that is why I'm playing both of those for a full unit. And then George Kittle to score a touchdown, a guy who has not scored yet, but is the only player that I think has value in a touchdown. And I know you're saying plus 190 is value. Yes, the Cardinals last week had 11 targets to Zach Ertz. He had 8 catches for 88 yards. So clearly there is a breakdown in this Giants defense at the tight end position, and they are potentially missing a starting linebacker, the Giants are. So, give me Kittle across the middle often in this game and hopefully to find the end zone. As far as my profit boost on FanDuel, I'm riding with Hodgins again over 30.5 yards. Paris Campbell is the third wide receiver on this team. And again, all 3 of these guys have similar targets. So Paris Campbell over 28.5 yards. Receiving, I realize correlation here. If a target's going to Hodgins, it's not going to Campbell, it's not going to Slayton. So there is somewhat of an inverse correlation. I understand that. I'm fine with it in this game just because I think we make up in volume what we lack in correlation. And finally, I'm throwing Kittle in to score a touchdown into this parlay as well. I think the Niners will have opportunities to score, and I don't really love taking McCaffrey at minus 280. Samuel at minus 110, I think, and Ayuk at plus 110. So give me Kittle at plus 190. Little value there, given that he hasn't scored this year, and so maybe people are forgetting about this weapon. As always, guys, drop a like if you enjoyed, a comment as well. Any bets you are tailing or any bets you are playing on your own. Again, if you can subscribe, it helps me grow my channel. I know I hate sounding like a broken record when I say that, but it truly is the best way to support me. So, as always, take care, enjoy the game Thursday, and we'll see you next time.